Firstly, I would just like to say what an honor it is this evening to be able to be involved in something like this. Seeing the legacies within the community, just being in the same league. I feel almost like a toddler among titans. So thank you for the legacies and the story and history and being able to be involved. So my name is Josh Nuckles. I'm one of the co-owners of Stonefire Pizzaria, and so my partner's name is Andrew Hansen, and I have to say a big thank you as well. For looking back into the history, I didn't know much of it. We've only been with it for about a year, and so very much more new and not as seasoned as some of these generational wealth of those legacies. But it was really interesting and really cool to be able to see where that history came from and where we stem from, so to speak. So, like people have said, it started out with A&T root beer. And so, like was mentioned, so Vern and Celia Tidwell, they established A&T root beer, and then the daughter, Bardee, and the son, Vernon, helped out a bit. And then from what I understand, an unfortunate or untimely death of Celia, Vern got remarried, and for about 12 years, remarried Anne, and they ran A&T root beer. And so they actually had stands, and this kind of floored me. So Abilene, Texas, Pueblo, Colorado, Winslow and Buckeye, Arizona, as well as North Hollywood and Van Nuys in California. So quite a few, as far as the looking over the kingdom, Mufasa and Lion King, quite impressive. I had no idea. And so, after the war and everything they came back and actually built 1952 in Logan. They had a little spot down there that they were selling root beer and other things. And in 58, it was when they actually built in Smithfield. And so it was just the front corner of their family home. So, nothing big, but it was 193 North Main Street, which is like Sinclair.
Where the dino is.
Yeah. The dino.
Is what I understand is that right on the corner.
Okay.
So I guess that house would have been back where the gas station is.
It was to the south and back.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, there was a picture, but no orientation or anything. So, yeah. Wow, you're kidding. Okay. Hey, going back to the community. It's a small world. That is so wonderful. To be able to experience that and then. Thank you for sharing that. So, after they established it in Smithfield, so about 12 years, and we were just mentioning this before, so for 12 years, back then it was 19-cent hamburgers, 5 cents for a 10 ounce of their famous root beer, and, fries and other things, and it's just, I can't imagine, even within the year that we've, seen price increases, the inflation, everything. Just how I wish, we could go back to 19-cent hamburgers and 5-cent mugs of root beer. So Vernon and Ann retired in 1971 and leased the building to Gerald and Dorothy Ostheimer. And then shortly after that, it was Rocky Kimball that it became Rocky's. Managed the stand, added pizza to the menu, and then officially changed the name to Rocky's. So it was Rocky's for a while. And it was so interesting. It was a month or two ago in Stonefire. I was going around talking with some guests, and this lady, the more we talked, she said, "Yeah, I've actually come in before." I'm like, "Oh, great! Like what is your favorite dish? How long ago? That sort of thing." She said, "Oh, for quite a while." And I'm thinking, 3, 4, 5, 7 years or something. And she mentioned that, "Oh, my grandpa was Rocky," and I didn't even know who Rocky was. And I'm like, "Oh, who's Rocky?" I feel so bad. Not knowing the history and everything. And she goes, "Oh, this used to be Rocky's." And I knew that it was a pizzeria before, under a different name, but I was unaware of it. And so I appreciate the learning, going back to the history, knowing your roots, so valuable. And so she said that she would come in as a little girl and help out Rocky in the pizzeria and back in the pit dish, doing dishes and, running food out when things were really busy and that sort of thing. So it was really interesting seeing from, someone, having a firsthand account of the history, right? So I thought that was really cool. And then 91 to 92, Dwayne and Alan Cottle took over management, and then a year later in 93, their accountant actually became interested and made an offer. So Tom Gibbons, and then he had a couple kids, David and Rebecca, kind of helped out with things, and they ran it for a number of years. Gibbons expanded to the 33 East, 600 South, so our current location, and then made that Rockies as well, right? And so that was the main location, a little bit bigger. So 2001, Greg and Neil Chambers, they started Firehouse, and then a little bit later started the Smithfield, became the second location. And then so from Firehouse, this is a little bit fuzzy on the exact date, but late 2000 teens, Kim and Jim Tippett assumed ownership and management of the Smithfield location specifically, and it was, and again, same thing, it was, I believe, 21 when they actually changed the name and separated and actually went the Stonefire route. So a little bit separate. And then from there, they ran it for a number of years, and then 23. So last year, my partner and I, they had run their business for, and many other businesses. I mean, they had, and maybe this is getting off on a tangent, different, is it Monkey Bread in the mall, and, a bunch of other communities, another pizza place out in Wellsville. And so they had their run in the food business. They were ready to retire, and they were actually going on a mission to Africa, which is where they're at now. And so they were ready to sell, ready to pass the torch. And so my business owner, the other business owner, my partner, actually grew up in their ward. And so when he got married and moved in next to Stonefire, he would come in and eat quite frequently, and he would joke with him and say, "Hey, when are you going to sell this place to me?" And, they'd have a laugh and everything. And one day he called him up and said, "Hey, were you serious?" I said, "Well, kind of. I need to make a call." And so he called me up. We had been friends for a number of years, and we had voiced that we wanted to go into business together. And so my wife actually ran in the same group of friends as he did, and we're both a bit outdoors, and we would love, mountain biking and winter camping and whatever. And so every time our families would hang out, we would think, man, what would be a wonderful business opportunity? And so he called me up and said, "Hey, are you shutting down?" I'm like, why? And so we assumed ownership of that, and so it's coming up on a year, a grand legacy of 12 months, nothing like, generations, but I guess you got to start somewhere, right? Something I can, tip my hat and hold in high regard. So many different companies and businesses around the community, something to aspire to. So we've been doing that for, since last year. And honestly, when we purchased it, we wanted to keep the legacy of great family atmosphere and uncompromising quality of food. And in full transparency, we are not the fastest. We're working on that, but we try to be uncompromising in a great product. And so, I mean, when we have had different consultants come in and say, hey, you know, this will make you much more profitable, this will be a lot easier on you, this can, you know, cutting corners, and whether it's, you know, the full cream instead of cutting it with whole milk or half and half, or, you know, the focaccia bread, you know, different things that we say, you know, like, we're not going to compromise on that, even if it means, you know, not being just absolutely, you know, growing as fast as we would wish. And so, again, going back to, you know, the principles, I really respect the level of commitment to community, and we have tried to, you know, repay that as much as we can, you know, helping families in need and, you know, around the holidays and things like that. And, you know, tried to put our own spin on things. So we've had additions. He's a helicopter pilot, and so we have the aviator drink that, you know, was his specialty. And my last name being Nuckles, so we have a Nuckles sandwich, which so pridefully, the, you know, Lauer's meats, you know, help make that something that stands out, you know, with some of our competitors. And so, thank you again, nodding that hat. But yeah, so and we have really tried to do our best using local ingredients, and we've mentioned a couple times Lauer's meats, Gosner's cream. And even in our salt mills, we use the, you know, you could go the cheaper route, right? But having the Redmond salt, the real salt that is actually mined here in Utah. So trying to do the things slow and consistent and doing things right, but we are honored to be a part of the community. And actually, I was going to say, you know, coming full circles with Lee's. So my wife, all through high school and college and everything, you know, higher education, dating her, she worked at Lee's for a number of years, and so it's always fun, you know, finding the different connections. So thank you for letting us be a part of the community, and we look forward to what the future holds. Thank you.